Hey everybody, welcome back to Omens. I'm your host Ryan, AM Air Pronouns, and this is episode 43, The Moon. Was that sufficiently odd enough? What the hell's in my pocket? Yeah. I don't know why that's in my pocket. That was random. It's a Beanie Baby thing and tag, which is squished together. I don't know if I can open it. Nope. Okay, well that was random and weird. Okay. Anyway, hello. Welcome to Omens. Alright, so today we are going to talk about the moon. The planetary body planetary body in astrology. Technically, it's not a planet. Yes, we know this. There are many planetary bodies in astrology that are not actually planets, such as the asteroids and the luminaries, aka the sun and the moon. And yeah, I'm hyper. Okay, this is better. Alright, so the moon, and then we have, if you've read the description, cabbage and selenite. So it's technically under my herbs and rocks and astrology playlist, but I think we've done this before where my herb is not really an herb, it's plant, so it's more accurately plants and rocks. I might change it. I should probably change it. It might be changed by now. By the time you're watching this, it might already be changed. So yay, you're ahead of me, or I'm ahead of myself. The moon. If you're not paying attention, so if you might have realized by now, and I've mentioned it before, and because I've started noticing it more, is every time I start doing one of these videos, I start getting into the energy of whatever I'm talking about. Even if I record these all at once, my energy will change between one recording to the next. It's like, I'll be like, okay, anyway, and then I'll be like, next one. All right, let's move on. This is perfect because Luna is where we get the word lunacy, lunatic. The moon is known to make people go a little bit bonkers, which I am currently doing, if you had noticed. I'm sure you did by this point. I get a little hyper. I tend to get kind of hyper with these in general, though. Who knows? Alright, so the moon, let's start with that, is the closest planetary body to Earth in our solar system. In the entire universe, the moon is the closest planetary body at all. It's so close it affects our tides, not only of the oceans and some big enough lakes, but also to a degree the tides of water in ours and animals' bodies. That gravitational pull is just enough that it fluctuates our own emotions, which is why, like in the medical field, they absolutely hate full moons because everybody goes a little nuts, especially the patients, but also the staff. I can attest to having watched my sister go a little wee when it comes to full moons, and not all of it is like, oh my god, I don't want to deal with these people. But yeah, so it tends to affect the tides of more than just our oceans and large lakes. It also affects, to a degree, water in both animals and humans are animals. And plants, I think, to a degree. I might be stretching there. Excuse me. It is also the Earth's only natural satellite. So we have plenty of satellites. Most of them are man-made and shot up into the atmosphere. And unlike other planets, the Earth only has one natural satellite, which is the moon. Which is odd because most of the other planets in our solar system have multiple satellites, like, let's say, Jupiter. Holy crap. That planet's got a lot of satellites, but we'll get to that when we get to Jupiter. We're not there yet. However, our moon is interesting in the fact that it is the largest satellite relative to the planet that it orbits. So every other planet's moons or satellites, they're not as big as they're okay. In relation to their planet, so in ratios size, like, you know, that 1-to-2 type deal, ratio size, our moon is the largest in ratio to its planet than any other natural satellite. However, as a moon, it is only the 5th largest natural satellite overall. Thanks to its gravitational tug and dance with the Earth, it does actually slightly lengthen the Earth's days. And, of course, like I said, it's the main influence on the tides. Main gravitational influence. There was more to this. I could have sworn there was more, but that's all I wrote down. How dare I? Alright, so the moon is fascinating. There's a lot to it. One of the other things is with its gravitational dance is we only ever see one side of the moon. It's a little bit more than 50% of the moon. It's not just one half. It's because it does curve. We see a little bit more than 50%. But the way it turns and the way our planet turns, that's the only side we ever see. So when somebody says the dark side of the moon, they're talking about the side that we don't see. It's not technically dark because it does get sunlight, because it does rotate, but we never see it, so it's dark to us in that we don't have knowledge of it from our vantage point on Earth. I believe we do have knowledge from satellites and all that, and picture images and sending people up there and all that. It's mostly a vacuum, I believe. There's very little atmosphere. There's very little gravity. And this is the extent of most of my knowledge and everything I wrote down. I probably could look up more, but I mean, the moon as a whole is fascinating. Let me real fast search. Alright. Only natural satellite, 1/4 the diameter of Earth. So, yeah, that's pretty big. 1/4 the diameter on Earth. 5th largest, 30 times. It's classified as a planetary mass object and a differentiated rocky body and lacks any significant atmosphere, hydrosphere, or magnetic field. Its surface gravity is about 1/6 of Earth's. Jupiter's moon, Io, is the only satellite in the solar system known to have a higher surface gravity and density. So, technically, our moon has more gravity than any other moon except one in the entire solar system, which is... So, our moon is the largest in relative to its planet in our solar system, and it's got the second highest gravity. Alternative names: Luna, Selene, Cynthia. Adjectives: lunar, Selenian, Cynthian, moonly. Orbital characteristics, physical characteristics, atmosphere. Alright. So the moon's orbit around Earth has a sidereal period of 27.3 days, and during each synodic period of 29.5 days, and I did look what those words mean, but I don't understand it, so I'm not going to try to explain it. It's something to do with how much light it gets from the sun, and it's something to do with sidereal is... Okay, it has to do with its orbits around our planet and around the sun. And I can't remember which is which or exactly how it's going. I couldn't find a very good explanation of it. The amount of visible surface illuminated by the sun varies from none up to 100%, resulting in lunar phases that form the basis for the months of a lunar calendar. The moon is tidally locked to Earth, which means that the length of a full rotation of the moon on its own axis causes its same side, the near side, to always face Earth. So that was what I was saying, like there's only ever one side of the moon that we see. That's so basically 59%, so more than half, of the total lunar surface can be seen from Earth, though through shifts in perspective due to libration. Libration. So basically, the near side, the full rotation of the moon on its own axis causes the same side, the near side, to always face Earth, and the somewhat longer lunar day is the same as the synodic period. The most widely accepted origin explanation posits that the moon formed about 4.51 billion years ago, not long after Earth, out of the debris from a giant impact between the planet and a hypothesized Mars-sized body called Theia. So basically, they think Earth and this hypothesized planet collided together. The other one broke. Earth didn't break apart. Theia broke apart, and part of that became the moon. This is the hypothesis. It then receded to a wider orbit because of tidal interaction with the Earth. The near side of the moon is marked by dark volcanic maria, or seas, which fill the spaces between bright ancient crustal highlands and prominent impact craters. Most of the large impact basins and mare surfaces were in place by the end of the Imbrian period some 3 billion years ago. The lunar surface is relatively non-reflective, with a reflectance just slightly brighter than that of worn asphalt. However, because it has a large angular diameter, the full moon is the brightest celestial object in the night sky. The moon's apparent size is nearly the same as that of the sun, allowing it to cover the sun almost completely during a total solar eclipse. So what that means is basically, from our perspective here on Earth, the moon and the sun look about the same size. So lunar eclipse, yeah, it's covered. Just from the distance between the two, that's how that happens. It's like how when you're in an airplane and you're up above the sky, those trucks on the ground, which you know are huge, look like tiny toy cars. It's relative perspective. So same thing with the sun, the moon being the same size as the sun. It's apparent size. Both the moon's prominence in the earthly sky and its regular cycle of phases have provided cultural references and influences for human societies throughout. Such influences can be found in language, calendar systems, art, and mythology. First artificial object to reach the moon was the Soviet Union's Luna 2 uncrewed spacecraft in 1959. This was followed by the first successful soft landing by Luna 9 in 1966. The only human lunar missions to date have been those of the United States Apollo program, which landed 12 men on the surface between 1969 and 1972. These and later uncrewed missions returned lunar rocks that have been used to develop a detailed geological understanding of the moon's origins, internal structure, and subsequent history. So, some of its characteristics: it's a very slightly scaling ellipsoid due to tidal stretching, with its long axis displaced 30 degrees from facing the Earth due to gravitational anomalies. So it's not a perfect sphere, it's slightly elongated, like the Earth is. That was all from Wikipedia, if you hadn't guessed, because, I have a thing for Wikipedia. That sounded weird. Anyway, so that is kind of the science of the moon. Now, astrologically, the moon has to do with in our astrological charts, in our natal charts, it represents, or in any astrological chart, not just the natal charts, it represents the emotions and the emotional needs and relationship to feelings. Our emotions, our feelings, our hearts, our water side, yada, yada, yada. It's a night energy, or it's traditionally considered a feminine energy. It's, but more accurately would be it's a receptive energy. It's a dark exhale energy. It's like if you kind of just like feel that energy when you like exhale, that settling down, that calming, that release. That's kind of that energy that I'm ready to accept. That's kind of the moon energy. It's the night energy. It's the darker, more passive, cooler, definitely cooler energy. It's not so bright and warm as the inhaled day energy. It's passive, accepting. it flows a bit steadier. It moves. It allows others to move. It's more of a night energy. It's associated with the fourth house in the astrological charts. It's the ruler of the fourth house. It's also the ruler of Cancer, the astrological sign Cancer. And as such, it is associated with the family and the home, like Cancer is. Ancestors. It's also associated with the mother. So anything to do with Cancer and the moon together, both have to do with the home, family, the genealogical line, or the family line, be it chosen or biological or what have you. Your ancestors, both by blood and by what's the other way? By blood and by path. I think it might be path. It has to do with the moon, of course, is receptive and reflective. It's quiet. It's now, if you recall from as we were reading in Wikipedia, the moon is actually not extremely reflective. It's about as reflective as asphalt is, as old asphalt. And so the only reason we see so much of it is because the sun's so bright, and angles. And angles is the big thing. That's why it's so bright to us, is because of the angle of the light. So it's more receptive and absorbent than it is reflective. So even though it is reflective, if you think of moon energy, it's more like just sitting there and reflecting more internally. It's like people can't really see the reflection going on until they stand at the right spot. But it receives a lot. It has to do with the past, childhood, areas to nourish and be nourished. It represents our body rhythms, the path of inner fulfillment for us, and our connection to family and friends, and our connection to our past, again, the childhood. Basically anything that has to do with more emotions, the past, and nostalgia, because emotions are representative of the past. Emotions lay in the past. Whereas, because I've been finally learning some of the Native American medicine wheel, thanks to a shaman podcast I've been listening to, and it makes sense because emotions lie in the past. That's where we're associate emotions. That's where we actually have feelings about things, is stuff that has already passed. Present is associated with the body, and the future is associated with the mind, because we don't really have a whole lot of emotions to what's going to happen in the future unless we associate them with something in the past which we had emotions about. And right now, it's like, I'm physically here, I'm moving through things. I might have a little bit of emotion, but I'm not going to really dive into it until later when this is now in the past. Anything I'm thinking about is more in the future and ahead. So emotions and the past are emotions have to do with the past has to do with emotions. So childhood, family, home, things that have been type deal. So that's what the moon is in our astrological charts. It has to do with our inner emotions, how we feel safe and loved and comforted, and how we feel about our homes. Like, for example, if you have a moon in, what's a good example that's not my own? You know what? Let's go with Capricorn. For example, if you have a moon in Capricorn, then emotionally, you feel most emotionally fulfilled when things around you are stable and structured, and your checklist is being done. You've got a checklist. It's like your emotional needs are things must be done. Things must be done. Like, in order, everything in its place, a place for everything, or a place for everything, and everything in its place. Things are structured, comfortable. You're in charge. You're in control of your emotion, of your environment. That is where your emotional happy place. It's just where you feel the most comfortable, the safest, and the most safe. That makes more sense as a sentence. Things are orderly and you're in charge. It's just that if your moon is in Capricorn, if your moon is in Aries, you feel emotionally happy when you're challenging something, when you're driving ahead, when you're when things are changing and you're leaping forward, that's your happy place. That's where you're like, heck yeah, let's move forward. Moon in Leo, or, well, yeah. So you get kind of the idea. The moon is where your happy place is emotionally. Where your moon is where you're happy type deal. All right, so, and also it has to do with your relation to your past, your childhood, your mother oftentimes, or your mother figure, or that sort of parent figure, the more receptive, loving, less authoritarian one. So, all right, so that's the moon. So moving on to our plant. Our plant is cabbage, because it looks like a moon, and it's associated with the moon. And water. And it's also a, quote, feminine herb, or plant, not herb. So the cabbage we're talking about is specifically Brassica oleracole. Oleracole, yes. Which comes in green or red/purple or white/pale green varieties. So it's either very pale green, which is called white, a red cabbage, which is technically looks purple, or it's a purple cabbage that looks red. It's a magenta. And magenta is not a real color. It's literally just two ends of the white light spectrum. It's like one end is red, the other end is purple, and they do not connect. But, when we see both of them, our brain goes, whoop, loop it. It must become a color, an actual color. And that is where magenta comes from. Because our brains go, these colors don't connect, make them connect. So red, purple, and green. That are the colors of cabbage. That made sense as a sentence. Alright, so the cabbage, or Brassica oleracole, is a biennial plant, which means it takes 2 years to flower and go to seed. But it is grown as an annual plant, which basically means it takes one season to grow and to go from seed to harvest type deal. And that's because we harvest the leaves, the heads of cabbage, long before they flower. So, but if you want to leave them to flower and go to seed, then you have to wait 2 years. You have to, like, plant them one season, wait till the next season, the end of the next season type deal, for it to actually the beginning of the season after the next season, I suppose, if we're going by years, for it to actually go to seed and, like, here, have some more cabbages everywhere. It is also related to broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts, and Savoy cabbage, the cole crops, or the brassicas, which basically they all kind of descend from cabbage, or cabbage was discovered first. They're usually about 1 to 2 pounds, smooth-leaved. There are some varieties with crinkly leaves, and they're firm heads. Anyway, get your mind out the gutter. Firm-headed, they are, however, prone to pests and diseases, so watch your cabbages. They might get sick or something. The cabbages were most likely domesticated somewhere in Europe pre-1000 BCE. Savoy cabbage was developed in the 16th century CE. So by the Middle Ages, the cabbage was a prominent part of European cuisine, and due to its versatility, it could be pickled, it could be fermented to make sauerkraut, it could be steamed, it could be stewed, it could be braised, it could be sautéed, or it could just be eaten raw. Yes, you can eat cabbage raw. No, it doesn't taste the greatest. It also smells disgusting when you cook it because it has a high sulfur content. Or not a high sulfur, it has enough that when it's cooked, it releases sulfur gases, so that's why it smells disgusting. But it tastes delicious. Goddamn fucker. Alright, it is a good source of vitamin K. It actually has about... Okay, so percent daily value is based on a 2,000 calorie diet, which not everybody can do. That's kind of the, quote, average, unquote, daily calorie diet. Say, like, for example, me, I need closer to about 3,000 calories a day. And it changes for everybody. Some people need more, some people need less, some people can do with the average. That's why it's called average. Alright, because it's literally in the middle, people, come on. It's not an insult, it's literally closest to the middle, just leave it, you're good. Alright, so anyway, so based on the percent daily value, based on 2,000 calorie diet, it's got about 72% of your needed vitamin K and 44% of your daily needed vitamin C. And so it's a great source for K and C. And vitamin K. I know that's not how you spell vitamin. Wow. Vitamin K plays a key role in helping the blood clot, preventing excessive bleeding. It's not typically used as a dietary supplement. K1 is the main form. Okay, so basically vitamin K is it helps your blood clot. Vitamin C, as we know, is an immune booster. And it's a good source of dietary fiber. Dietary fiber, not just regular fiber. Alright, so raw cabbage is 92% water. So we can see where the elemental association of water comes from. It is literally mostly water. It is 6% carbohydrates and 1% protein. And yes, I know that's only 99%. I don't know what the other 1% is. I suppose it's a multitude of little bitty chemicals. It says negligible fat. And it didn't really tell me much else. So it's usually that 1% is all these little bitty percents of different minerals and whatnot that are not really important. So, but anyway, it's a lot of fucking water. It is 92% fucking water. That's a lot of water. That's more water than a human body. Anyway, alright, magically, again, it's associated with the moon. I mean, it looks like a fucking moon. It's round, it's bright. I mean, now it's leafy. Maybe the moon is made out of cabbage. No, it's not made out of cabbage. Alright. The moon is made of cheese. Nah, it's definitely cabbage. Alright. It's, again, associated elementally with water. Probably because it is so much fucking water. It's a femme plant, so it's more receptive, passive. Honestly, I'd see it as more femme, as in F-E-M-M-E. As in, bitch, I'm fabulous. I have makeup and pretty, and basically the opposite of butch. So, me on a interesting day, or a flamer day. Well, probably not. Cabbage seems a lot softer than, your queen type deal. Cabbage helps to stimulate the base chakra, which makes sense if it is such a old food that, of course, it would be associated with the root chakra, the base chakra, the chakra of our survivability, of our survival, of our need to exist, of our, the red chakra, base, root, chakra in the groin area. Associated with that, it is a powerful bringer of fertility, not futility, fertility. It's associated with the full moon, obviously. You can eat it for personal protection or luck. It's most strongly associated with luck and fertility, as far as I can find, which makes sense if it's associated with the base chakra, if it's associated with survivability, because it's such an old food, such an old basic food that has so much, and also if it's a good source of vitamin K, which is used for blood clots, that makes sense, because if you were to get hurt, then a food that helps boost your ability to your blood clot so you're not bleeding out all over the place. Damn. Yeah, that's cool. Lucky draw. Medieval folklore suggests that newlyweds were given cabbage soup the first day into their marriage to ensure their love stayed strong. Okay. A lot of this fertility comes from folklore. Fertility association comes from folklore, and maybe it's because it is a basic survival food. So it's like if you have at least a basic food, that will help your survivability, which will help your fertility. So, and according to Scott Cunningham, suggests that newlyweds plant cabbage in their garden first thing for good luck in marriage and garden. So again, that's survivability. A lot more, like, you'll get more good luck and fertility if you have a basic vegetable that will ensure will see you through the winter, because it is also so versatile. So again, with that, and we see that strong association with home, which again the moon is associated with, and the moon is also the emotions past. It all ties together. All right, I could probably tie it a bunch of different ways, but I think somebody would kill me for this, for like going back over it. And also, you all have brains; you can tie them together. All right, our last bit here is our rock, or crystal, or mineral. Definitely a mineral. Selenite. Selenite is one of those beautiful crystals you can find anywhere, and people like to make selenite bowls and eggs and wands, and it's very good for carving. So selenite is a very common chemical sedimentary mineral. It is an evaporate rock, which is one of the three types of sedimentary rocks, the other two being carbonate and siliceous. And evaporate rocks form when bodies of water evaporate, imagine that, and leave behind the chemicals that were dissolved in them. That's how we get salt. If you didn't know, salt is an evaporate rock. I did not know that until I read this. I knew, but I didn't know, if that makes sense. I mean, I knew that salt was formed when water evaporated, but I didn't know it was an evaporate rock. Yeah, evaporate. So, selenite is a sulfate mineral, and I believe sedimentary, let me look that up real fast. Sediment rocks. Sedimentary rocks are types of rocks that are formed by the accumulation or deposition of mineral or organic particles at Earth's surface, followed by cementation. So basically, sedimentation is the collective name for processes that cause these particles to settle in place. So basically, you get a bunch of minerals that all flow together, and they start collecting, and they coalesce, and they cement together, and that is a sedimentary rock. Cool. Makes sense. All right. So, and it's evaporate rock, so basically this type of sedimentary rock is like the water leaves, goes bye-bye, and all these little chemicals go, oh dear, we forgot to collect together and form a new thing. It's adorable. They all gotta huddle together. Alright, so selenite is a sulfate mineral. Oh hey, more sulfur. I didn't plan this. I forgot. Because I wrote the selenite up today, and I wrote the cabbage up 2 days ago. Oops. Okay, fascinating. So we've got the moon running through here, and then sulfur starting to run through here. I like this. All right. Anyway, I'm just getting distracted. So, it's a sulfate material. It's a chemical composition is calcium sulfate dihydrate, which is 1 molecule of calcium, 4 molecules of sulfur, and 2 molecules of water, which is in itself a molecule. Oh well, it works. Alright, so selenite is a form of gypsum, which, get back here. Alright, I took screenshots of for multitude of reasons. Cabbage has sulfur in it, right? Cabbage. Sorry, I'm going to run through and make sure. No, I don't want the screenshot. What the hell? Or the picture. I want the Wikipedia. Give me my Wikipedia. 69 taxonomy. Too long. Very too long. Alright. I should probably pause this at some point if it's going to take me this damn long. Alright, you know what? I know I saw somewhere that cabbage has sulfur in it, so I'm just going to stick with that instead of getting loopy distracted here. That's not what I wanted. I wanted my screenshot. So anyway, selenite is a form of gypsum. Gypsum is not that. There. So there are many crystalline forms of gypsum. Sometimes they are grouped together under the name selenite. So when gypsum forms clear and colorless crystals, it is called selenite. When it is opaque with fibrous textures, it is called satin spar. And clusters of tabulate crystals are called desert rose. Those are pretty. Single flattened blades pick up particles of sand and are called hourglass selenite for the distinctive shape created by the sand. Gypsum flowers form from long parallel crystals often resembling ram's horns or fishtails. Another common form of this mineral is alabaster, which is often a pastel color and is very popular as a decorative stone for sculptures. So, alright, where is it? And selenite gets its name from the ancient Greek word for moon, Selene, the goddess of the moon, or the moon goddess, because Artemis was the goddess of the moon, Selene was the moon type deal, kind of personification of the moon, who was also a goddess, and yeah. It's a soft mineral. It's a 2 on the Mohs scale of hardness. It can be scratched with a fingernail. And then screenshot 2. It is extensively used in making plaster and drywall, which is why you shouldn't stick your hand in drywall or fiberglass because it scratches. It is also used as a fertilizer and a soil conditioner. It is actively mined around the world and is easy to split into thin sheets. This is called cleavage. And if you hadn't guessed already, as an evaporite, all forms of gypsum will dissolve in water over time. This is why you should not clean your selenite in water, because it will dissolve. And you don't actually really need to cleanse selenite. That's another thing. I'll get to that in a second. So it can form large beds hundreds of feet thick and covering many square miles. White Sands, New Mexico is one such place. Selenite can form the largest crystals in the world. In the Nyaca caves in Chihuahua, Mexico, single crystals can reach a length of 33 feet and weigh over 55 tons. Selenite be huge. She thick. She big girl. Alright, so now, selenite and magic as crystals. So like I said, you don't need to cleanse selenite. Selenite is one of those minerals, like salt, and there's a couple others, that they have such a high pure vibration, they never need cleansing. In fact, selenite specifically can be used to cleanse other stones. And that's why they'll do bowls or shelves of selenite, like larger pads of selenite that you can actually stick other crystals on to help cleanse and retune them, cleanse them of negative energies. Selenite is just such a very pure mineral. Same with salt. Salt never needs cleansing. Salt is the cleanser. Selenite never needs cleansing because it is the cleanser. Which is funny because they're both the same form of rock, or partly. Selenite has a very fine vibration. Like I said, it brings clarity of mind. Opens the crown and higher chakras. So like I said, there's crown chakra and then there's higher chakras above your head, which there's, depending on who you ask, there's 3 or 4 of them that go by different names. And sometimes it's like, no, this one is this name, but no, this one is this name, and no, it's actually this one up here that's that name. It gets all mixed up. It depends on who you talk to. Opens the higher. It also links the light body or higher body, or, well, the light body to Earth. It's calm and quiet, something I'm currently not. It's good for protective grids of peace. It helps create a peaceful inside. And what I've seen commonly, and what I like to do too, is you take a stick of selenite and a stick of tourmaline, and you set them in the corner. And you set them in each of the 4 corners of your home or the room you're trying to protect, and it creates a lovely grid. Because selenite kind of like clears, calms, cleanses everything, and makes sure the inside is just nice and calm and beautiful, and just, it's a wonderful stone. And then tourmaline, I love that as a protective stone, as a protective black stone, because it feels to me like it creates a fucking wall. It's like nothing getting in here. And but it's a nice gentle. It's a very gentle protector. It's just like that warrior, that strong soldier outside the gate that you want to hug because he's just such a sweet guy, but you don't really want to hug because he's also like heavy duty wall, and he's kind of like 3 times your size, and you're not sure how you would hug him. That's what tourmaline is to me. It's a wall, and it's a nice, cozy, protective wall. So you take that tourmaline and selenite, put them together. It's just, it's lovely. It's fucking lovely. As for the other black stones, tourmaline's my favorite to actually put as protective, because it creates a wall. It like actually creates a block between me and whatever I'm trying to keep out. Obsidian is more... Obsidian tends to more reflect. I've found it's like ping, ping, everything hits me and bounces off, and there's nothing here. It's not really a wall, it's just like stuff hits it and bounces off, so it's more like armor when you're out walking around. And then onyx. I've heard onyx. I haven't really worked with onyx too much, but onyx is apparently more of an absorber. Apache tear is a form of onyx that I've worked. Is it? No, it's a form of obsidian. Fuck, I can't remember now. I think it's Apache tear is onyx, isn't it? But onyx, from what I've heard, I haven't really worked with it, like I said, but it works more like an absorber. It absorbs all the negative energy, and it can transform it, but it's not really, it doesn't really get rid of anything. It just like, oh, this is now mine. Apache tears are obsidian. Alright, it's completed darkness, violet composition, and bearing conchoidal fractures. Okay. Anyway, yeah, but anyway, I got off on a tangent on blackstones when we're here to talk about selenite. But, oh well, makes sense. Alright, so it's very good for protective grids of peace. It's used to help detach entities from auras. So, like, you'll see some people have these big-ass selenite wands, and they can be spendy. I've had one person do it to me once, or do it for me once, where basically they take the selenite wand and they just rub it down your back and over your body. Like, she was like, and oh my goodness, that felt so good. Hadn't even realized I'd been keeping my wings pinned down, and then she goes on my back. I'm like, oh, I can feel my wings again and my tail. Oh, it was nice. Basically, that's one way of like cleansing not only the aura in the body, but they basically like scrub you down. And so selenite is used to help detach entities, negative entities, from the aura and the body, and get rid of them. It's useful for checking in on a lives lesson plan. This was from Judy Hall's Crystal Bible. So basically, selenite you can use to kind of go past and into the past and future, and like look into your your records, like what's my lesson plan? What am I planning to actually do this life? Like what have I learned? What do I need to repeat? All that sort of shit. Good for scrying, meditation to actually like get into the past. But as a general rule, selenite is good for it assists in judgment and insights. It helps clear confusion, helps you see a deeper picture, the bigger picture, and physiologically. All right, so it kind of helps clear things up. It's like, okay, we're going to wash all this away. We're going to be able to see clearly now. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone type deal. It cleanses everything off. It just makes it easier to just see. And then as for physiologically, it's apparently, now granted, not medical advice, do this. This is energetic. Selenite in itself, it even says, it prefers to work, it helps heal on an energetic level. So selenite is used for helping to align the spinal column and promote flexibility. I could probably use a bit, because my poor spine, it hurts. This one I'm going to say take with a fucking bowl or a bucket of salt. Helps guard against epileptic seizures. Please take your medicine. Do not depend on crystals to help. I think I've said this before, but I will repeat it again. Crystals are energetic healers. Energetic. It means they work on our energy bodies only. Their energy works with our energy bodies, which works its way down into the physical, but due to the difference between energetic bodies and physical bodies, shit can happen to the physical bodies that does not come from the energetic body or translate into the energetic body. Or shit in the energetic body doesn't always translate into the physical body. So, take your fucking physical meds. Don't depend on crystals to heal physical ailments. They work on your energetic body. They will help. Probably. Not all the time. Sometimes they can't do it alone. Sometimes you need more heavy duty shit. Sometimes you need to take care of your physical body and then work on the energetics later. Alright, so even though energetically it says it can help guard against epileptic seizures, do not depend on it to, get rid of them. That's bullshit. Multiple layers here. Multiple layers. It only works on one, not the other. It helps. They all affect each other, but not consistently. Alright? Good. And then, of course, selenite is apparently excellent for breastfeeding. Okay. I mean, if nursing parents out there want to, see if that's a thing, wearing a selenite necklace while you feed your kid off your tit, and, I don't know, try it for a few months, see if it makes your baby happier, healthier, calmer, and more light, or whatever, I don't know. That one I'd be curious about. Don't feed your baby selenite, please. That's not what I wanted. Alright, so a few different specific colors and forms of selenite. In addition to the generic properties, different colored selenites have specific purposes. Orange-brown selenites, Earth's angelic energies, and aids Earth healing. Blue selenite, placed on the third eye, quiets the intellect, facilitates shutting off mind chatter during meditation, and quickly reveals the core of a problem. I need that on a tiara or one of those little circlets, because if I lie down while trying to meditate, I just fall asleep. I've tried multiple times. Green selenite assists in working towards the highest good. It makes you feel good about yourself and helps to overcome the effects of aging on the skin and skeleton. Fishtail selenite, which is the different layers it was talking about. Let me pull it back up. So, clusters of tabulate crystals, single flattened blades That's not it. Gypsum flowers form from long parallel crystals often resembling ram's horns or fishtails. So that's this, if you can see it. Yeah, there. So fishtail selenite provides deep healing for the nerves. It is extremely calming, stabilizing emotions, and diffusing tension. This form of selenite is often called angel's wing selenite. It facilitates angelic contact. Desert rose selenite. This pretty stuff. It's a little ball. Helps to dissolve self-imposed programs that have been running for too long. It releases the program and assists in finding an appropriate replacement. Can be used to strengthen affirmations of purpose. Seraphinite. That's pretty. I want some seraphinite. Except for it's also extremely expensive. I have serpentine. Took me forever to figure that out. Alright, anyway. That is selenite. And we're only at 50 minutes, yay. Alright, so that is selenite, cabbage, and the moon. Alright, hope you all are doing great. Check down below for all my links and shit. Like, comment, subscribe. Please like. I like likes. I also like comments to let me know that people are actually watching and do or do not like this. Excuse me. I'm thinking I might try turning this into a podcast too, but that's in the ether right now. We'll think. For right now, I need to get a video editing software that doesn't cost me $10 a month because I have too many subscriptions and bills, and I really need to stop. But anyway, all right. So that's it for today. Thanks for sitting through all this craziness. If you did, if you didn't make it this far, okay, fine. But if you did, yay, thank you. Good to know sometimes that people actually watch this bullshit I spout. Alright, other than that, have a great rest of your whatever, and I will see you next week for the death card. Bye.